CO2 emissions have a price tag for future generations that we have not sufficiently considered in our economic development until now. And it is now about time to do so. However, it should not lead to limiting our mobility, be it for the economy, for our personal relations, for social cohesion and participation. The level of mobility is a clear indicator of progress. Which picture do we have in mind when we think of Europe in 2030, 2040, or even 2050? Is the new Green Europe driven by a culture of bans and restriction? Or is it stimulated by innovation and competitiveness? I want to highlight two aspects in this regard. First, the need for effective collaboration. And second, the need to consider the social impact. European car makers are outperforming each other in launching new electric vehicles. Together with our suppliers, who are also represented on the panel today, we are bringing new technologies to the market at a very fast pace. 14% of all new cars sold in Europe today have a plug, almost twice as many as just 1 year ago. The transformation of the mobility sector is happening here and now. The automotive industry will fully contribute to the goal of a carbon-neutral Europe in 2050 in a technology-neutral and holistic approach. And under the right conditions, we're open to even higher CO2 reduction targets until 2030. However, the Green Deal must be mutually binding. The EU member states need to boost investments in charging points and hydrogen stations. Currently, we are running into a bottleneck for e-mobility. Look at Germany, for example. In 2019, 10 electric vehicles had to share one public charging point. And in 2020, this number increased to 17. And this trend may get even worse. The Alternative Fuels Infrastructure Directive is close to its next revision. We urge the European Commission to produce a framework with a revised AFID that will result in binding targets now for sufficient infrastructure across all member states. Without these targets, our transformation will lose momentum. This also has social implications, which brings me to my second point. An extensive charging network allows manufacturers to keep battery sizes moderate, thus lowering the cost of vehicles. This is crucial for entry into e-mobility. We are talking of a price range from 15,000 to 30,000 euros. The typical EU household does not have the budget for big and expensive batteries. And without charging options, mobility for these customers is effectively limited. Another form of social impact comes from labor markets. The automotive industry provides 11.5% of the manufacturing jobs in Europe. This means well-paying jobs for 3.7 million households. And it is no secret that the production and maintenance of electric drivetrains are less labor-intensive than that of conventional combustion engines. And this has an impact on the entire value chain. All the new jobs will be created, for example, in infrastructure expansion, battery production, and recycling, IT, and digitalization. These jobs will require different skills. Of course, we will continue to invest in reskilling and upskilling of our employees. Given the scope of the task in our transformation, we need to tackle this challenge together with social partners, educational and training institutes, the European Commission, national governments and regions. Ladies and gentlemen, the Green Deal can only succeed with a joint effort. We are all part of a team zero emission mobility. Thank you very much.
ACEA, driving mobility for Europe.